Okay, I'm gonna try to find today would be my grandfather's 102nd birthday. He was born February 21st, 1923 in Detroit, Michigan. When he was 3 years old in 1926, his brother, William Le Mere, regular name was Le Mieux, and at 9 years old, and his 9-year-old friend, Lawrence Flavin, came up missing from 3rd Street, going to a moving picture cinema. And his friend's body came up 2 months later in the Detroit River. And then 4 months later, my grandfather's brother came up. Somebody kidnapped them. Kidnapped them, killed them, and then dumped them. Okay, I got a map here. P, Q. So I think we gotta go this way. Section Q. Let me see here. Where are the single graves? They should be section P, section Q, UG, singles, O. Aha, found it. Oh, and I parked all the way over there. Found it. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is it. He's tier 1, section UG, tier 1. Grave 15. Okay. This is section UG. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Section UG, tier 1, which is row 1, should be right about here. I don't think this is him, but I think there's a row missing. I think there's a row missing because this is probably row 2, and maybe there's a row here. But yep. This is the section he should be at, right here. And so I know he's buried here. I know he's buried right here. I don't think that there's a headstone, and if there is, it's way deep underneath the snow. We'd have to come back in the spring. I'm not feeling anything under my feet either. Father. 1881 to 1932. Nothing under here. $1931. So he was buried in 1926, 4 months later. Mother, Pearl Hartman, 1934. Yep. So, this is section UG. These are all just single graves from when Mount Elliott Cemetery, Detroit, Michigan, when it first opened. All of that didn't used to be there. That's all an extension. That was all just trees back in 1926. But yeah, I don't even see any other graves. But that's it. That's where he would be, right there. Section UG. He's tier 1, which means row 1. And his best friend was in grave 14 next to him for 11 years until his father died. They buried them at Mount Olivet Cemetery when his father passed away in 1937. And then they moved him. So I'm thinking this is section UG. He would be tier 1. So clearly this is, I would assume this is tier 1. That would be tier 2. And that row back there would be tier 3. So he would be, sorry, it's crazy out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. He would be in here somewhere. Section UG, tier 1. This would be about tier 1. He would be right in here. Sorry, everybody, that I'm sniffling so bad. I'm not seeing any markers at all, but he should be right in here. He should be right in here. And of course, it was over almost 100 years ago. Next year, March 13th of 2026 will be 100 years since he came up missing. So he's got to be right in here somewhere. And today, my grandfather would have been 102. I'm just going to say a silent prayer. Amen. Now, I have to get my mom out here before my mom passes away and gets, too old, because her and her siblings, out of 7 of them, it's only her and her one sister left. And unfortunately, they never knew what happened to their uncle. My great uncle didn't know what happened to him. We were just told that it was some kind of accidental drowning. We didn't know that he had been missing for 4 months and that somebody had impersonated a state police officer trying to extort money. We did not know any of that. And we certainly didn't know that his body was, after being kidnapped, him and his friend, that they both, my great uncle was missing. He was missing for over 4.5 months before they found his body. 2 months for the other boy. But that's how they concluded that they had to have drowned. And these are all single graves, but the thing is there's no, I'm not seeing any stones. So I don't even know if there's any markers or anything. It's SPUG. Yep, I was in the right section. That's where he's at. It's just, unfortunately, there's with all the snow, there's no way that we could tell if there was a marker or not, and I haven't found any, so yep, we're in exactly the right spot. That's right where I was at. I pray that my grandfather, who would have been 102 today, and my great-grandmother and my great-uncle know how much work I did for years and how much I did to look for him, to find out what happened to him, and finding over 140 articles. If it wasn't for that, I would never have been able to piece together what happened. I would never have been able to put those pieces together, that he and Lawrence Flavin, William Le Mere and Lawrence Flavin, went at 3 o'clock on a Saturday in March, which was still pretty cold in Michigan, went down 3rd Street to where Detroit Cinema is to see a moving picture show, which was fairly new at that time. They never come home. Both of them kidnapped, murdered, dumped. Just a couple blocks that way is the Detroit River. Belle Isle is right there, and the bridge to Belle Isle. Down there is downtown Detroit. The bridge to Canada, which is the other side of the river. And yeah, I just hope they know how much work and time and effort I put into this, to be able to find him and find where his resting place was, to find out what happened. Because my grandfather was the last remaining one out of all 5 brothers. He had another brother die in World War II, another one die in the Korean War. So if I ever come back here, I have video evidence of where that is. This is section Q, and UG is straight back from Q. So you can tell a lot of these people had been buried in the 20s, 30s, because if you look at the dates, you can clearly see. I've only found a couple so far that were from the 40s. So the cemetery in this section was clearly older. And this is Mount Elliott Cemetery, Detroit. See right there, 1862 to 1938. Ann Halloran, Mary E. Halloran, Is that two women? Anne Halloran and Mary Halloran. Maybe it's... Oh, and Thomas F. Might be a mother-daughter. God, I love just... Old cemeteries are just so beautiful. There's something just so peaceful about them. And not only that, but look at how beautiful a lot of these headstones were. People used to be able to afford. Regular people that were middle class or low class could actually afford to pay for beautiful headstones like this. Isn't that amazing? Well, alright guys, we got to get in the road and get back home because we got an hour drive back to where we live. Alright, love you. Okay, we made it back home. If you want, send me all the love you can. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Stick around, give me a chance. You might like what I have to say.